I'm Thompson, Corporate Support Manager at Warrington Disability Partnership. I've worked in my current role for just over a year, but I've been working with the organisation. I'll start again.
That's how it begins.
Sandy needs to be on. No, I'm over it now. Hi, I'm Thompson, Corporate Support Manager at Warrington Disability Partnership. Been in my current role for just over a year, but I've been working with the organisation for almost 9 years now. Just to give you an overview of who we actually are. We're a local registered charity supporting over 34,000 local disabled people, their families and carers to achieve independence throughout their lives and work. What we do, as you see, we run a wide range of services. Just a few to pick out: our disability helpline takes almost 50,000 calls per year. It's run solely by volunteers. We do have lots of volunteering opportunities and have over 200 regular volunteers. WDP's vision: to achieve recognition as being a leading organisation that initiates, delivers and develops services to remove the barriers facing disabled people. The vision that we currently have doesn't quite fit with the user examples of a vision. It's not inspirational or an achievable dream for disabled people, but more based on what the organisation wants to achieve. Our mission statement, which is on the screen, has recently been shortened following consultation with team members, as the previous vision was felt to be too specific and didn't include all of our services. Following a number of away days, communication meetings and board meetings, the team at Warrington Disability Partnership agreed on a set of values based on the feedback from what our team members felt was important. These have now been implemented, but there's still lots of work to do to try and embed them within the culture of WDP. When looking at the external environment, which is needed to understand and strategic development, I decided to use a model called a pestle analysis. It looks at 6 different factors, which are politics, economics, society, technology, legal and environment. They can all help to influence strategic management decisions. This is one of the most popular models used. When looking at politics, government spending decisions can have a big impact on voluntary sector organisations, which can be either positive or negative. It can either mean that any funding cuts go down to the voluntary sector and we're asked to provide the same services for less funding, or there could be opportunities for further funding available as services are taken out of the local authority, as voluntary sector organisations can provide this a lot cheaper. Public service delivery. We do need to keep up to date with changes and be aware of current and potential contracts to ensure that we don't lose any opportunities. Current public service contracts in the Warrington area are of quite a fragile nature at the moment. 90-day contract extensions and the threat of tendering. WDP need to look at other ways to income generate to ensure that the self-sustainability of our organisation, if we wish to provide the same services in the way that we do. There's also the rise of single issues. People aren't volunteering for long periods of time with one organisation, but rather they're doing individual volunteering opportunities and then moving on to another cause. We need to be aware of this to ensure that we don't lose potential opportunities. And the changing nature of community leadership. The focus on the big societies around empowering communities. We need to ensure that we're in the heart of the community so that we're not missing out on any opportunities that there might be. When looking at economics, the economic downturn has had a large impact on WDP, particularly around corporate giving and attendance at our high-profile events. The local companies don't have the spare cash to be spending on events such as casino nights and balls, but rather using their corporate social responsibility to do things like community days. With an estimated cut of 3.3 billion to the voluntary sector between 2010 and 2016, almost all voluntary sector organisations will be hit by this cut. As well as that, individual giving, for a variety of reasons such as unemployment, lack of wage increases, rising bills and costs, people are more conscious of the money that they've got and are less likely to give unless they're receiving something back. We found this with a lot of fundraising events. We're getting more interest if people are getting something back, such as a medal, rather than having to go and find sponsorship, but rather pay a participation fee. We are looking for our future fundraising events to try and make these more accessible to people who might not be able to get the sponsorship elsewhere. With society, the introduction of our disability trading company a couple of years ago, it can make our organisation appear less charitable, as it is a business and it is connected to our charity. It has caused tensions with local retailers because they're now seen as competitors, even though we do provide an independent service. The introduction of changes in social services, where they're no longer giving small items of daily living aids. They used to give this free, they're now providing people with a prescription, which they then come to us. Although that's good and the people come in and they are purchasing equipment from us, it's not always the equipment that they really want. It can cause problems as they're not totally satisfied with what they're receiving. Ethnic and cultural diversity. We do need to ensure that all our services are accessible to all. We do this in a variety of marketing ways, through different means. We also go out to local ethnic groups and give them talks to let them know of the services that we provide. And changes to income levels. People now want greater value for money. They've not got as much flexibility or spending power, so the things that they're buying needs to be right. So they're not taking rash decisions on things that they're buying. Technology. In the last couple of years, technology has come on considerably in the last couple of years with social media, online communities, internet use. It means that we need to be aware of where our customers are looking at our products and our information. We do need to be conscious that a lot of our service users may be elderly or may not have the facilities to access online media. But we also need to ensure that we are moving with technology development. Funding bids now appear on portals and there's new programmes and apps. We may miss out if we're not up to date with the technology. In that, it means that training and development of staff in this area is paramount. If people can't use the programmes, then we are going to miss opportunities. In the current climate, employment laws even more. We need to ensure that we continue to follow all practices, as we don't have any money available should we end up having tribunal payouts and things like that. Also, the submissions to places like Charity Commission and Companies House, we need to ensure that we're doing this within the right amount of time. Funders are now looking at when people submit their accounts and will not give funding to people who are late doing that. And with our trade and arm expansion, we do need to be sure that everyone is clear on the laws relating to selling. This includes distance selling, terms and conditions and returns. And we have been doing quite a lot of work to get these down on paper so that we maintain a good reputation with our service users. And with the environment, with our charitable nature, we need to ensure that we're aware of all the external factors that might be important to team members and our service users. And also corporate responsibility, with less spare money to give, relationship building with local companies. It may come in a couple of years that they do have the money to give, but at the moment we need to be working with them and looking at different ways to work. And we also need to be aware of outside organisations, both local and nationally. I've identified some opportunities, as you can see on the board, includes further developments of services, not just in Warrington but in also other areas such as Liverpool. And also Warrington Town Centre will be getting a new market. We need to use that opportunity to be involved in that. Also opportunities to bid for services through the tendering process, becoming a motability dealer. Assistive technology is on the increase, and there's also an interest in the second-hand market due to the economic climate. In response to these opportunities, we need to train our staff, aim to increase the second-hand market sales by promoting the services, not just for the people wanting to buy the equipment, but also for them who may donate it, including local councils and companies such as housing associations that have spare equipment to give. We still need to continue discussions with local funders and build relationships with organisers of new projects in the area and look at partnership working. A number of threats that have been identified: outside organisations tendering for services, contracts coming to an end, not sure whether they're going to be renewed or put out to tender, and they're only being rolled out for short periods of time, which gives low staff morale and uncertainty to not just the team involved but also the whole organisation. New organisations coming into the area aren't aware of the whole package. With public sector staffing changes, we need to form relationships quickly, but on paper they see what we provide, but they're not aware of all the other services that go alongside and complement these. And we need to ensure any complaints are dealt with smoothly, and to achieve the best customer service, which may include training of staff. In response to our threats, we want to develop good working relationships with all partners, including competitors, all of our stakeholders, our funders and our service users, making people aware of the role that we play. We want to continue to market our services and look at other ways that people can support us. Just to look at the internal capability of WDP, we've got our resources, where we've got the threshold resources at the starter resources that anyone would need to provide our services. We've also got the unique resources which give us a competitive edge against other people that we may be applying for funding alongside. Some of our resources, we would need premises. We are quite lucky that we've got premises on a 30-year lease with parking and good transport links, and all of our services are within easy accessible locations. We have a good IT infrastructure, fit for purpose policies and procedures. Things that make us unique include solid, committed and knowledgeable team, the equipment that we own. A lot of the services are run by equipment that we personally own, so if the funding was to go, we'd still own the equipment, and anyone setting up would have to purchase new equipment, so there'd be additional start-up costs. And our ingrained culture, which has been developed over many years. Looking at the competencies, things that people would need to be able to run an organisation or provide a service: strong leadership, knowledge of contractual requirements and ability to meet targets and follow guidelines to keep funders happy. Things that set us at an advantage are our experience. We're recognised as a local brand, and over 90% of our team have had life experience of either living with a disability or with someone with a disability, and we do have good relationships with many local organisations. Just looking at our strengths, we have a clear, solid structure. We've got steady annual growth over a number of years, which I think is really important in this economic time, where a lot of charities are declining year on year. We've got good relationships, and we've got a strong board that support us to provide our services. Consequences of some of the strengths that we've got: funders are made aware of the full package of our services and accessibility of our premises. This can be used as a bargain tool when looking for funding. Again, our steady annual growth makes us look more secure than others, and however, the high growth and becoming more self-sufficient can also have a negative effect, and people might think we don't need the funding. Weaknesses. Recent funding cuts mean we are unable to provide the full services to the highest standard. We do aim to do it, but obviously as funding is cut, some of the services are lost, and the uncertainty can have an impact on future plans and developments. Some funders are looking at new ideas. they won't fund projects that have already been set up, which can make us less consistent as we're looking for new projects. The consequences of some of these, stakeholders may lose confidence, and look, as we are changing our criteria for certain projects, loss of funding impacts on all team morale, not just the ones that have been made redundant, and also redundancy payments can have an impact on the organisation. In conclusion, what do we do now? Well, we continue to deliver the services to the best of our ability with the available funding, and look for more opportunities, and we look to find different ways of communication to get our message out to everyone, to all our stakeholders. We continue to keep the WDP culture alive, incorporating our vision, mission and values within all that we do, and we continue to find the right balance between promoting independence, advice and guidance, and promoting the services that we offer. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for that. I just wanted to start by asking you, I thought that it was interesting when you mentioned about the mission statement and the decision was reached to shorten it. Have you found at all since that it was shortened whether it's had any kind of positive change within the organisation? Do you feel like people have, taken the change on board and worked, harder as a result of it?
I've not noticed any particular change. I mean, from our benefit, it's easier that we can get the mission statement out there more.
Yeah.
What was around an A4 page document.
Yeah.
With a mission statement, we should be getting it out. We should be putting it on all our publications.
Yeah.
A full page document, you don't have the opportunity to do that. I've not noticed anything in terms of how people work, but
you find it easy to put it out to the public.
It is easier,
yeah,
but we can make people more aware of what our mission statement is.
Fantastic. Yeah, great. Thank you.
From the list of threats that you explained, are there any particular ones that you will prioritise?
I think the main thing is building the relationships. I think that's one of the most important things. If we've not got people are working a lot more in partnership. If we've not got relationships with other partners, it may result in lack of funding. People are putting funding bids together. So I think the partnership and the relationship development is the key thing that we need to be working on.
Okay. How are you finding embracing modern technology such as social media when you were talking about raising the public profile of the organisation? Have you found it to be an enjoyable experience, and do you have any targets based around it with what you're trying to achieve with the social media aspect?
I think what we're all basically learning as we go along. It is a learning curve for everyone, but we are embracing it. We want to learn it. People are using social media a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
I do think it's important that we don't forget the people who aren't on
Absolutely.
social media.
Yeah.
Which does mean extra work, because when you're doing your promotions, you've got to use a variety of different methods. When you go back 5 years and everything was by post.
Right.
So I think it is a lot harder, but I think we embrace it. We want to learn more. There is still a lot of learning to do because there's so much variety out there. So to get to everyone that we want to reach is going to prove quite difficult. But I think we're keen to move on and keen to keep up with modern technology.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Why are you targeting Liverpool in particular to develop services?
The Liverpool, we do have some links with Liverpool. We already have, we do run the Disabled Living Centre in Liverpool. So we have the contacts, we've built some relationships around in that area. We've gone into there, we're providing a service that they are really happy with. So and through them contacts and them relationships is how we've got to hear about any developments that are coming on. So we may look to other areas, but it depends on the opportunities, but there are opportunities that have been highlighted in that area.
Okay, and I've only got one final question. How has setting up the Disability Trading Company impacted on WDP as a whole?
I think it's made us... People have different views on the Disability Trading Company. A lot of people weren't keen on the idea because it makes us more business-like. However, we wouldn't be in, without the disability trading company, if we hadn't took that proactive approach with the economic downturn, I think we wouldn't be as big as what we are now. So although it has took us away from our charitable aims slightly, the amount of other services that the trading company is supporting, we wouldn't be able to have if it wasn't for that.
Right.
So it does have its positive impact, but it does have a negative impact, especially around what I mentioned about the retailers.
Yeah.
You know, they're not as keen to work with us now as what they were in the past because we are seen as competitors. But in the economic climate, to be continuing to grow on an annual basis, I think it's really paramount to the work that we've done and the proactive approach that we've taken to achieve that.
Brilliant, thank you very much.
Well done.